Inside the Magic, show number 354 for January 15th, 2012. It is Sunday, January 15th, 2012. This is show 354 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti. We do have another great show packed with Disney and theme park news and a whole lot more fun. And before we get started with all of that, I do invite you to visit InsideTheMagic.net. That's our website where you will find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and so much more. And if you ever have any news, tips, or questions to ask, you can always write to me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net via email, or you can call in to our voicemail number at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486, and maybe I'll play your message here on the show. And with all that said, let's jump right into it and get started with this week's show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. The Disney Cruise Line is closer than ever with sailings from New York, Galveston, Orlando, and Los Angeles. Book your Disney cruise vacation today for the best pricing and receive a free shipboard credit. So call Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And be sure to mention Inside the Magic when you do all of that to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And by Audible, get a free audiobook download along with access to over 85,000 titles to choose from for your iPod or MP3 player as part of a trial subscription over at audibletrial.com/Inside the Magic. And of course, thanks very much to listeners and viewers like you for your donations, be it one-time or recurring, or any purchases through our affiliate links over on the website. It all supports us very much, and I thank you very much for that. And now, let's get started with this week's show with our trip around the world. Well, welcome to show 354. This is going to be our first video version of the show for 2012. Of course, a couple of weeks ago was the big Year in Review, which I imagine some of you are still working your way through. I know a lot of you have finished it, but, it's a long show. It could take some time. Maybe you're jumping back and forth. So there was no video version of that because it was 4.5 hours long. Then last week, some technical issues prevented me from having a video version, but here we are. We're back. For those of you tuning in live on Sunday, January 15th, about midday. Let's see, it's about 2 p.m. over at InsideTheMagic.net/live. We are recording there, and then, of course, later, I'm sure, watching on YouTube, where we post it there as well. For anybody who has never checked out the video version of the show, go do that. It is a new year, and it's fun to be able to share not only the usual Inside the Magic audio program that we've been producing for so long, but also a video version that shows you even more. Video, goes with photos going along with what I'm saying, sometimes some video clips as well, and of course, you get to look at me. I'll let you decide if that's a good thing or not. But anyway, so that's the video version. It is back, and hopefully weekly as well. So with that said, let's jump right into some news this week. And I've got a couple of stories here that I'm just going to mention real briefly at the top of the news that are big stories this week, big enough to talk about further in depth later in this week's show. And the first is the beginning of guest testing over at the Magic Kingdom for Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, the new interactive game/experience in the park. I have plenty to say about that, but I will do that later in this week's show, so stay tuned for more details there. I'll try to not throw out too many spoilers for that experience, just kind of give you an overview of it, so that when you get to experience it in person, you'll be surprised and enjoy it yourself. Likewise, this week, the exotic driving experience is debuting actually tomorrow on Monday over at the Walt Disney World Speedway. And it is a fun experience that I had a chance to preview on Friday, and that is also something that I'll be talking about more in depth with a couple of interviews later in this week's show. So stay tuned for that as well. So now let's talk about some other smaller news stories, though still exciting news. Some more changes are coming very soon to the Magic the Memories and You show. Of course, Disney updated that show for the holiday season with a Christmas version of the show, and now it has been revealed that starting next month, on February 3rd, a Valentine's Day version of the Memories and You will debut, featuring lots of hues of red and pink and some rose petals, all projected onto Cinderella Castle, and presumably they'll be doing the same version or a similar version out at It's a Small World at Disneyland as well. This, of course, is for Walt Disney World. They mentioned Walt Disney World for sure, haven't specifically said that there will be a Disneyland version, but most likely there will. They released a little bit of artwork or an example of what it'll look like to illuminate Cinderella Castle for Valentine's Day, and shows a bit of kind of Disney tales of romance, including Sleeping Beauty. So if you want yet another version of the Magic and Memories and You, which I'm sure it'll just be an added sequence, much like the Christmas version was, then head on over to the Magic Kingdom in just a couple of weeks. Moving on elsewhere in the Magic Kingdom, of course, last weekend was the end of Dumbo. As we've known it for so many years, Dumbo has now closed in its location just behind Cinderella Castle. Well, really behind the carousel, which is behind Cinderella Castle. That is closed. It's already begun being dismantled to be moved over into Storybook Circus, where one of the two carousels there, the Dumbo carousels, that is, not a merry-go-round type of carousel, but the spinning Dumbo, one of them, the new one, is already installed, and they're working on moving over the old one and to become the second one over there. And it seems like perhaps they're going to be opening both carousels simultaneously rather than opening one, as some had previously speculated, because the reopening date of Dumbo at the Magic Kingdom has been pushed back to March 12th. It's not going to be in February anymore. So Dumbo's going to be closed for about 2 months, which is certainly unusual for the Magic Kingdom. But when it does, it seems like it will potentially debut not only with this double Dumbo, but also with some other parts of Storybook Circus as well, which is going to become the first open phase of New Fantasyland, the big expansion of the Magic Kingdom. So pretty exciting there. Looking forward to it. You know, I'm not a big Dumbo fan to begin with. I went and I rode it just to say goodbye to the other version. The old version, the version that's been around for so many years, but it's not a ride that I, tried to ride regularly, and I'm sure I will go on the new version in Storybook Circus just to try it out, and then probably not ride it all that often after that. But, it's a ride for the kids, and it certainly has its important place at Disney, and it should be a wonderful experience to have two Dumbos kind of dueling side by side pretty soon, a couple of months away. Over at Epcot, I just recently read that some changes are going on to what is going to be available to consume in Epcot's Italy Pavilion. Apparently in April, something called the Gusto Wine Bar is going to open next to Tutto Italia. It's going to be an Italian wine cellar of sorts. So it's going to be themed to a wine cellar. You're going to feel like you're underground. There's going to be a small dining area as well, probably for some sort of finger foods. It's going to be similar to the Cava de Tequila over at Mexico, but this one's going to be Italian, and anything that adds more Italian food to the park, I am all for. So I'm looking forward to that. Tutto Italia is also currently closed for some renovations as well. So looking forward to in a few months all of that opening up. Now, one of the biggest stories of 2011, as we talked at length about not only regularly here on the show, but in the recent Year in Review program as well, is the addition of Avatar to Walt Disney World. And there's not really a firm timeline as to when Avatar is going to come around. They had said around 5 years-ish, perhaps opening in 2016, the goal being to have Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 hitting the box office before it all opens up at Walt Disney World. Well, according to those involved with the pre-production at this point of Avatar 2, it seems like the timeline for that first sequel to Avatar has actually been pushed back a bit. It seems like Avatar 2 is now not going to open in theaters until around December 2015, possibly even into 2016, with the Avatar 3 roughly a year after that. So instead of it only being a couple of years away, it's now 4 years away for Avatar 2, but it seems like that probably won't affect affect the timeline too much of Disney. In fact, it might even be better for Walt Disney World to have one Avatar movie come out exactly a year before the other, really build up that hype, have Avatar 2, then Avatar 3, and then the big debut of Avatar Land Pandora at Walt Disney World. I don't know, we'll see. It's still quite a few years away, but an update, tiny update on Avatar. Let's move away from Walt Disney World here now, actually over to Universal Orlando, where something I'm really excited about, I love mini golf, is certainly coming together very well. And it's the new Hollywood Drive-In Mini Golf at Universal Orlando in the City Walk area, and a big new sign for Hollywood Drive-In Golf has shown up amidst the construction. Things are moving along down there now very well, and there is no opening date yet for that mini golf, but I have to imagine it's within the next few weeks. It's moving along quite steadily. It was also revealed recently that annual pass holders for Universal Orlando will receive a 10% discount on that Hollywood Drive-In Golf course at City Walk, up to 6 guests there. So exciting. Looking forward to playing that course. And while we're talking about Universal, they released their lineup for the upcoming concert series that is Mardi Gras, a big celebration they do every year for a couple of months, weekly or even more than weekly concerts. So you can head on over to InsideTheMagic.net to get a list of all the acts that will be playing at Universal this year, as well as the upcoming bands, Brew, and Barbecue concert series over at SeaWorld, Orlando, and Busch Gardens. Head over to the website to get all of those lineups. Now let's jump out to the Disneyland Resort, and here's some news this week that was not entirely surprising, but has many not thrilled either. It is end of line for fans of Electronica, the Electronica nighttime dance party nightclub Flynn's Arcade theme to the Hollywood Pictures backlot at the Disney California Adventure theme park is ending in just a few months in April, and it will indeed be replaced. Disney made the official announcement after many rumors by something called the Mad Tea Party, and that's tea with just a T. It's not TEA. I guess they're trying to be clever and hip and whatever about it. This is going to begin in summer 2012, and it is going to be a new nighttime party atmosphere for the Hollywood Pictures backlot, replacing Electronica, and this one is going to be inspired by Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Not the classic Disney one, but Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. It's going to feature a live band, as well as a DJ, entertainment, games, and plenty of dancing. The live band is going to feature familiar characters from the world of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, kind of reimagined to become band members, which they're certainly interesting looking. Some concept art has come out as to what this band is going to look like, and it's going to be like a lead singer sort of kind of dressed as a Mad Hatter. There's going to be an Alice-ish looking thing, and a guitarist and a drummer and a keyboardist dressed as sort of Cheshire Cat and some of the other characters from there. Many have compared the artwork that Disney released to the popular Bratz dolls. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how all of that comes together when it is in the parks. There's going to be food and drinks and merchandise. Guests will enter the party through a rabbit hole, whatever that means remains to be seen. And instead of the End of Line Club, there's actually going to be a House of Cards Club with some card-themed dancers as well. Auditions are currently scheduled for next month for that live band that will be there at the Mad Tea Party. And as I mentioned, there's a vocalist, guitarist, bassist, keyboardist, and a drummer. And the auditions over at DisneyAuditions.com, the listing, mentions that everybody who's trying out should have a knowledge of popular rock and pop music. And it went on to list a few of the songs that potentially they will be playing as part of this experience. They include I Got a Feeling from the Black Eyed Peas, Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, Hot 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 from Buster Poindexter, We Will Rock You from Queen, Call Me by Blondie, Get the Party Started by Pink, and Dancing Queen by ABBA. Certainly not the same type of music that has been played recently for Electronica. Definitely an entirely different type of music, and not something that everybody is entirely thrilled with, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt at this point to see if this sort of complete 180 from Electronica, very colorful, bright, vibrant environment rather than all the shades of blue that make up Electronica, see which one works out for the better. It is happening, and I will miss Electronic. I've had a lot of fun. Of course, I'm a big Tron fan, but Alice in Wonderland did huge numbers at the box office, and we'll see how this Mad Tea Party comes together. Disney also confirmed something else that was kind of leaked out via the Disney Auditions website quite a few months ago, and it is going to Disney California Adventure as well. It's called Minnie's Fly Girls Charter Airline. It's a new sort of mini show, not Minnie Mouse show. Well, it is a Minnie Mouse show, but it's also a small show is what I meant by that. It's going to debut February 17th at the park over in the Condor Flats area near Soarin' over California. It's going to feature Minnie Mouse, aviator theme Minnie Mouse, along with songs and dance numbers and some interactive elements. And there will also be a 4-member crew performing songs from the 40s, 50s, and 60s as part of this new show. Now, continuing with Disney California Adventure, Cars Land, of course, is the biggest thing happening over there. It is one of the final touches to the big expansion of that park. And just this week, Disney put up a new section of the official Disneyland website devoted to Cars Land. That new section of the website features lots of concept art and plenty of other, some details, and they've actually confirmed a few details as well, including the top speed of Radiator Springs Racers. We recently mentioned that a leaked video online from an Imagineering presentation indicated that perhaps the top speed of Radiator Springs Racers would be 35 miles an hour. Well, now this new Cars Land section of the Disneyland website says Radiator Springs Racers will feature thrills up to 40 miles per hour, which is still more than 20 miles per hour slower than Test Track, using the same sort of ride system as Test Track, but that extra sort of decrease in speed will certainly be made up for in Radiator Springs Racers by the incredible themed environment in which you'll be racing alongside another car as well. You'll be zipping through Ornament Valley of Radiator Springs, lots to look at around you, and you'll be side by side with another car as well. Certainly will add to the experience, the thrill, the sensation of going fast. So even if it's up to 40 miles an hour instead of 60 miles an hour plus like Test Track is, you'll have a great sense of speed while going around there. The website also lists off some shopping and dining opportunities that'll be part of Cars Land. I'm pretty sure we knew about all of this, but it's good to see it all kind of listed in one place. It's the Cozy Cone Motel, Flo's V8 Cafe, and Fillmore's Taste Inn will be the dining locations. And for shopping, there will be Ramone's House of Body Art, as well as Radiator Springs Curios. And it's all opening summer of this year, 2012, officially, is when Disney has said. It seems like early June is likely the opening date for Cars Land, but we will have to wait and see exactly when that is as soon as Disney announces the official date for it all opening over at Disney California Adventure. And continuing with California Adventure, Buena Vista Street is another big part of the expansion of or renovation of California Adventure, the whole new entrance area. And this week, Disney revealed a few new details about the stores that will be going into Buena Vista Street, really completing the sort of 1920s/30s theme of that area. The stores on Buena Vista Street near the entrance of the park will include Oswald's, of course a reference to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. That will be a gas station themed store, and it will feature autograph books, hats, bags, and other souvenirs. There will be Los Feliz 5 and Dime that will have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, figurines, souvenirs, and some other items inspired by railways and trolleys, along with some character merchandise. Big Top Toys is another store. It'll be a circus-themed toy store that will feature innovative and interactive toys, games, and plush items. And then along the lines of a department store, there will be one called Elias & Company that will feature retro-style attraction posters, a variety of clothing, souvenirs, and collectible items, and a selection of men's period fedoras and executive-style accessories. So if you want to go to California Adventure, really complete that theme, grab your fedora, maybe wear a suit into the park, and really fit in with the 20s, 30s theme. They've been having, a group has been getting together for something called a Dapper Day over at Disney Disneyland, where you put on sort of that period outfit and hang around Disneyland for the day, really dressed up and try to look the part, and I think that'll fit in really, really well in this new version of Disney California Adventure. Looking forward to seeing that when it also debuts this summer. Something that recently debuted over at Disneyland that we mentioned here is the Jolly Holiday Bakery. That is hard to say. Inspired by Mary Poppins, it is at the end of Main Street USA, opened up just last weekend. And Jeremiah Dawes, who has contributed to the show on a number of occasions, was out there recently, had a chance to sample the food at the Jolly Holiday Bakery, and wrote about it for our website. So head on over to InsideTheMagic.net to see some photos of the decor, a little video tour of the bakery as well, and to read about what was good and what was not so good to eat and drink at this new Disneyland eatery. Now let's move away from the parks over to Disney Cruise Line for some news that was fairly surprising just a couple of days ago. For the first time in Disney Cruise Line history, a new cruise ship is going to be christened outside of Florida. The Disney Fantasy Ship, which will be launching officially in March, is actually going to have its christening ceremony up in New York City on March 1st. It's going to be a big, elaborate nighttime event for a couple of hours on March 1st, and then the next day it'll set sail down here to Florida to begin its regular cruises. Its maiden voyage is going to be on March 31st. Of course, if you remember back to January, actually about a year ago now, January of 2011 is when the Disney Dream was christened over at Port Canaveral here in Florida. And that christening was a pretty impressive event. Disney brought out just entertainment after entertainment, characters, brought out Jennifer Hudson to sing a song. Bob Iger, of course, was there, and so much more. It was quite the event, and I imagine those attending the christening up in New York City will have an equally entertaining sight to see before the Fantasy heads out officially for its first voyages. Back out here to Walt Disney World. You may be already familiar with the Walt Disney World Moms Panel, entering its 5th year now, welcoming a new group of moms and dads and other people into the group. In fact, they announced recently that they're going to be changing the name soon of the Moms Panel because, well, it's really not just moms. It's so much more than that. So rumors point to it being called the Inside Ears. Inside E-A-R-S. We'll see if that is indeed the new name of the panel. But regardless of that, the Moms Panel, as it stands now, has also begun receiving and answering questions in Spanish, which is something new for them. In addition, 2 new specialty areas added to DisneyWorldMoms.com are Disneyland Resort and Run Disney. So it's expanding beyond Walt Disney World, also requiring the name change there. Let's jump overseas now to Disneyland Paris, which we don't talk about nearly enough here on the show, but there's been some pretty exciting news this week for that park, or the couple of parks over there for that resort. In honor of the 20th anniversary, Steve Davison, who was kind of the creative guy behind World of Color, amongst many other really exciting Disney projects, is working on something called Disney Dreams for Disneyland Paris, and that's going to feature not only castle projection effects similar to the Magic, the Memories, and You, but also fountains and water screens and lasers and pyrotechnics and fire. I guess that is pyrotechnics, and an original musical score as well, so that should be pretty exciting. In addition, Disney has committed a 150 million euro boost for Disneyland Paris. It's going to be really emphasizing sort of a multi-year expansion of the Walt Disney Studios park, including a new attraction, which they haven't specifically said exactly what that attraction will be, but it seems pretty clear that it's going to be that Ratatouille dark ride that's been floating around out there. Lots of artwork and, concepts and not official details, never officially confirmed, but it seems like that is likely the new attraction that Disney is going to be putting money into for the Walt Disney Studios park in Paris. Should be exciting to see. Of course, I've never been to that park. Maybe when Ratatouille opens, however many years from now, maybe that'll be my chance to finally go out there. I'm sure I'll get out there someday. Let's move to the world of movies now. Something that I've talked about recently that has been in development for quite a long time at Disney is something called Frozen. Once called The Snow Queen, it's a movie that Disney's been developing for many, many years now. And it seems that some changes are afoot for this film once again. It's not going to be a hand-drawn film, as many had hoped it would be. Disney has officially confirmed that this new Frozen film will be a 3D CG animated feature, much like Tangled was. The film is going to hit theaters in November of 2013, so still quite a while away, almost 2 years away, a little less than 2 years, but it's interesting to know that it's going to be 3D CG rather than hand-drawn animation. There was a bit of a mix-up, of a problem, I guess you could say, for the Disney Store this week. They were launching a new Furry Friends line of Vinylmation. It's going to be Vinylmation figures themed to a variety of furry little Disney animals. Apparently, there were some production issues with this line, however, and they had to recall all of them. Tens of thousands of these items. So if you purchased a furry friend Vinylmation before they disappeared from store shelves or online, you have the option of returning it or exchanging it, and if you feel that you don't want yours because of production issues. In the world of online gaming, Disney had acquired a company called Playdom quite a while ago, and everybody's been wondering what exactly is Disney going to do with this company. Well, Disney's first Disney-branded Facebook game is going to launch pretty soon, and it's going to be Marvel Avengers Alliance. It's going to be a combat RPG from Disney Playdom. Apparently, they were working on this with Playdom before they even purchased the company, but now it finally is ready for announcement. There is no release date yet, but it is supposed to be sometime in the first quarter of this year, and you'll play it on Facebook. And one final note here in the news is not really so much news, but something I just wanted to bring to your attention. If you haven't seen it over at InsideTheMagic.net yet, I had a little fun this past Friday. It was Friday the 13th, and I wanted to show off something I recently added to my house. It is a customizable doorbell called the iChime. It's something I saw on TV, and then my wife Michelle ordered it very quickly. We got it in, and of course I put a Haunted Mansion sort of ringtone, if you will. You can load, sort of record any sounds that you want onto your doorbell, install it into your house, replace your existing doorbell, and then when people press your regular doorbell button, it will play whatever sound you put into it. And I, of course, could not resist making mine a Haunted Mansion doorbell. I mean, what else would I do in my house? So I've been enjoying it whenever people have been showing up to the house. And if you want to see a video of what it sounds like and of the unit itself and all the other capabilities of the iChime device, then you can head on over to InsideTheMagic.net to see and hear what this doorbell. Actually, I'll play the clip for you right now of what I made the doorbell. Let me turn the music down here for a second. Here is what my my doorbell sounds like. So that's what I hear every time somebody rings the doorbell at my house now, and I am loving it. So head on over to InsideTheMagic.net to check that out. Just a fun little extra tidbit here, and that will do it for your news from around the world this week. Here's a tip that came in from Michael from mywdwtips.com, and it's appropriate for this time of year when it's actually a little bit chilly, even here in Central Florida. It's been in the 50s and 60s lately, and Michael wrote in and said, many people avoid Splash Mountain when it is cold, which is a great thing for Splash Mountain fans for two reasons. First, the wait is much shorter, and often the wait is only the time it takes to actually walk through the queue. Second, the water level and spray is regulated, so many times you barely get wet at all. To make sure, just look at how dry people are coming off the attraction. So, Michael, great tip there. It's a good time to ride Splash Mountain. You think you're going to get wet, you think you're going to be cold, and yes, 50s and 60s is not that cold for many people in the country who are in 20s and 30s and whatever, but for us here in Central Florida, 50s and 60s is indeed cold, and I don't particularly want to walk around all wet from Splash Mountain in the cold. However, it is they've adjusted it, as you said, appropriately, and many are also thinking the same thing, which means you can hop right on with no problem. So good tip there. Everybody else out there, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now I do want to talk about Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. I mentioned it at the very top of this week's show that I would be talking much more about it, and that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to try to stay as spoiler-free as possible here because it's an experience that you sort of want to do on your own. You want to experience it for the first time on your own, but I do also want to share a bit about what this experience is all about so that you know what you're getting into next time you're at the Magic Kingdom. Now, the experience, this interactive game, as it really is, has not officially launched yet. Last Sunday began the first day of guest testing, and it has been on and off throughout the week. I think I read earlier today that testing has resumed once again over at the Magic Kingdom, but I was there for the very first day, took part in some of the first tests of Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom, and I do want to talk a bit about what the experience is. Though I cannot share my complete opinions about it yet because it was still in testing, so not necessarily all the features of the game were enabled quite yet. Now, I say it's a game because that's exactly what it is. It's not entirely an interactive experience. It truly is a game. In fact, it's a role-playing game. You get cards. You get these cards are spell cards. There are many characters involved, and your goal is to defeat some villainous characters while walking around the park and activating magic portals, as they call them. The testing experience began at the very front of the park, actually, on Sunday with a sign posted outside the Main Street Firehouse there in Town Square that read, "Sorcerers needed, enlist here today." And you walked on into the firehouse and found that the firehouse sort of store that was there for so long has been remade quite a bit. And there are additional details and some decorations that will be added to the firehouse store in the coming weeks before they officially launch Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. But when you walk in there, basically you kind of stay to the left and see your first magic portal straight ahead, showing you some sorcerers-related video on this screen. And magic portals are basically sideways plasma screens, flat screens, vertical in nature. But anyway, once you get inside there, the experience of taking part in Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom begins by being handed a deck of cards, a set of 5 spell cards. And these spell cards feature different Disney characters on them. Now, there are 70 cards total as part of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. The experience is completely free to play. You don't have to pay for these cards, and you do get to keep them at the end. So you can potentially start a collection trying to get a hold of all 70. You could trade with people. You can go back and get others. So I was handed 5 cards, which were not necessarily the best cards I possibly could have gotten handed. They're all themed to different Disney characters. The ones I got were, there was a Belle, Mowgli, Thumper, some Lost Boys, and Mushu. In addition to those 5 spell cards, as they're called, which I'll talk about more in a second, you also get a key card. And this is a card that you will use to unlock the magic portals as you're walking around the park. Now, as I said, this is a game. And, in addition, actually, I should say that you also get a map. That's very important so that you know where you're going within the park. You do get a map that has a couple of different sides on it because the game takes place in Fantasyland, in Adventureland, on Main Street, USA, and in Liberty Square/Frontierland. And that helps guide you to all the magic portals where you actually get to play the game. Now, let's talk about the game itself, but as I said, I don't want to spoil everything, though over at InsideTheMagic.net and on our YouTube channel, I have posted videos that are essentially complete walkthroughs of 3 of the many, many, many variations that you can play in this game. What happens, basically, you walk into the firehouse and you start the experience by, after getting these cards, you are directed to your first magic portal where Merlin comes up on the screen, from the Sword and the Stone, and he introduces the whole game to you. This is called Sorcerers Training. and kind of introduces the gameplay mechanics, basically how it works, that you walk up to a magic portal, you put your key card onto a key. Well, actually, as you're walking around, you're going to find your magic portals by not only using the map, but also looking for what is called a circle of power on the ground. It's going to be a Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom symbol placed throughout the park, kind of off in remote corners that mostly don't interfere with day-to-day activity in the park. So you look for one of those, then you look more specifically for a keyhole, especially themed keyhole, and you put your key card up to that, and that is when a magic portal is activated. And up in the magic portal in front of you is where some characters will come up. You watch a bit of story, and then you use your spell cards. You present it in front of you, and that is how you battle some evildoers up on the screen. Now, more specifically, here's how Merlin puts it. If I read a bit from the actual Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom map, it says, from Merlin, I created these mystic portals to sense the misdeeds of villains and defeat any evildoers. On your maps, you will see magic symbols. That is where you will find my portals. When you're at a portal and a magic symbol appears, find that symbol on the maps. You must immediately travel to that portal. Once you find and open a mystic portal, stand on the circle of power and defeat the realm. That's all for now. Good luck. I'll meet up with you along the way. So there's a little message from Merlin. I guess I've been calling them magic portals. Merlin calls them mystic portals as well. Either way, you find them, you play the game, you go through. There's many different character experience. Hades is actually the main villain of the whole Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom game, but as you go along, you'll actually find different villains sort of helping him out and taking over the Magic Kingdom, and your job is to stop them. So I want to give you kind of an example of what Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom is all about without spoiling too much for you. I want to take you over to one of the Fantasyland sort of quests, if you will, and play a bit of what it is all about. Now, as I was saying, I have posted over on InsideTheMagic.net as well as on YouTube complete video walkthroughs of one of the games in Fantasyland, one in Liberty Square / Frontierland. Those are sort of lumped together, as well as one over in Adventureland. Main Street USA was not testing yet, I think because all the Christmas decorations were still up, and so they were working on taking those down. But here is sort of an example from Fantasyland. Now, over there, you can actually be fighting either Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty or Ursula from The Little Mermaid. I sort of did battle with Maleficent and her henchmen along the way. And what I want to play for you now is sort of the introduction when you first walk up to your very first mystic or magic portal and put up the key and watch your intro, and then also the first spell battle at the second portal. So let's hop on over to the Magic Kingdom now to enjoy a bit of the Magic Kingdom.
Good timing, Sorcerer. The good fairies need our help, but unfortunately Hades' minions have me pinned down, and at tea time no less. You must carry on without me for now. One of the most feared of all villains is attempting to get this crystal piece. Oh dear.
Oh, now where is that dungeon escape spell? Oh, hello. Thank goodness you're here. That wicked Maleficent has returned. Let me show you.
Here's the deal. You capture the crystal of the Magic Kingdom, and I give you a get out of the underworld free card. What do you say?
So Maleficent came back and stole the crystal shard.
What a shame. The Lord of the Dead won't be getting the crystal he so desperately desires. I'm afraid I've decided to use it to reclaim my rightful place of power instead. Prepare my trap!
I barely escaped, but she captured Flora and Fauna. We've got to save them. Here's that spell. For this list of 3, I'll need help from thee. Rescuing Flora and Fauna, getting the crystal shard, and stopping Maleficent from taking over. Our quest begins at this magic portal. Use your sorcerer's key to open it. Then I'll tell you about the next part of the plan.
So there is the introduction in Fantasyland. Here is the next portal as part of that experience.
While you battle the guards, and Fauna ready to escape. Then we break them out.
Fall, intruder!
At this point, you hold up a card in front of the screen and cast your spell.
The sorcerer is allowed down here. Yep.
The window's blocked and sealed with evil magic. You must break down the door with the magic of the Sorcerer's Crest, the symbol found on the back of your spell card. Quickly, dear, show them.
Oh, thank you for rescuing a sorcerer.
And with 3 good fairies to help now, I'm sure you can stop Maleficent.
Let's see. We need to go to this portal to... Oh dear, this could be dangerous. Oh, but I'm sure it'll work out somehow.
So there you have it, just a little bit of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. As I said, I don't want to spoil too much for you, but that sort of gives you an idea of what the experience sounds like, depending on if you're listening to the audio version of the show or watching the video version. You can definitely head on over to our YouTube channel or InsideTheMagic.net to see much, much more if you don't mind being spoiled just a bit. And as I say just a bit because there are many different experiences. So even though I played through 3 complete rounds, there are still many, many more variations out there, as well as all of the testing that was being done when I was there was done on an easy level. There are different levels of difficulty for this game, and the easy level, basically, you just went through the motions, kind of held up a spell card when it told you to, and just kind of walked your way through, and nothing... You didn't really influence the game all that much. Apparently in the medium and hard versions, you actually have to pick your spells more carefully. You can't use the same one more than once. You have to look at the values on the spell cards themselves to determine which ones to use against which enemies, and it's a much more involved experience. Also, the more you play, apparently the spells will grow more powerful, and you'll reach more powerful villains that you have to battle against, and it really is a video game of sorts built into the Magic Kingdom. I haven't played those medium and hard levels yet, but I look forward to in the near future. Now, there are 20 of these magic or mystic portals total around the park. The map shows the location and the sort of the little icon that's unique to each portal, and that helps you clue you in on where to go next. It is a very linear experience, which I found not great. I was hoping you can kind of pick and choose where you get to go. You're also sort of assigned a character when you first start one of your quests, if you will. You basically are helping out, Pocahontas or the characters from The Emperor's New Groove or Aladdin or whatever you're kind of stuck with at that time. You don't really get to choose. When you first start at the fire station or the other Sorcerers Training that will be added to Liberty Square, if you've already played and you want to request a certain character, it's out there, or a certain theme or a certain movie, they'll be happy to oblige you, much like the Kim Possible World Showcase adventure over at Epcot if you've already done one country or another. I should mention, speaking of Kim Possible, there really isn't too much of a comparison to be drawn between Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom and that Kim Possible experience. Yes, they're both interactive experiences in a Disney theme park that add to the existing scenery, but it is a totally different experience. I expected it to be very similar, but the Kim Possible game or interactive experience, really you go around, you trigger things to happen, statues move and things take pictures and water squirts and things light up and there's projections and all of that. None of that is really part of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom all takes place on these portals, which, as I said, are basically screens. You're not going to see too many practical elements. A few here and there, but not too many practical elements as you walk around and you take part in Sorcerers, but you should really expect a video game type experience. It's actually quite similar to the midship detective agency that is aboard the Disney Dream and will be part of the Disney Fantasy cruise ship as well. Actually, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom is from the same creators as the midship detective agency, so the similarities are quite big there. And just a few opinions that I was able to draw from this. I can't make any opinions on the actual gameplay aspect itself because I did not play the full game and I only played it on easy mode. But I can say that the characters that you get definitely make a difference in how much you enjoy the experience. And the 3 times that I played, I got, over in Liberty Square in Frontierland, I got Pocahontas as my theme, and I'm not a big Pocahontas fan. It's all right. So it wasn't as enjoyable for me as it would have been for somebody who was a big Pocahontas fan. Likewise, I saw people around me that were playing and testing that got a Princess and the Frog theme, which I love that movie, and I much would have preferred to have that battling Dr. Facilier. Likewise, over in Adventureland, I had the Emperor's New Groove. Again, not a big fan. Others had Aladdin, which I much would have preferred. But Fantasyland, I was perfectly happy with Sleeping Beauty / Maleficent. Great movie, great characters. I would have also enjoyed The Little Mermaid there. And there are a bunch of other characters and movies and themes that I haven't even mentioned that are all part of it. Likewise, the cards that I got were not the greatest cards. There are many, many better cards, and the cards actually influence what happens in the game, because when you cast your spell using the character cards, you actually get something that happens different. You see that particular magic spell show up. So for me, I had like Thumper, and Thumper would put a bunch of footprints up on the screen and go, and that was his spell. Or Mowgli would swing a vine, and the vine would hit the character. So those were not the greatest spells that you could have. I've heard of many, many others that I really want to get my hands on, such as a Mr. Toad car, where he comes driving in his car and runs him over, and that sounds like a lot of fun. A few more thoughts on Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom before wrapping up here. It's a game that requires lots of walking back and forth, so be prepared to walk from the beginning of Adventureland to the backside of Adventureland, back to the beginning, back to the end, and back and forth, sometimes repeating the same portals you've already been to. As more and more people get to play Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, especially when it officially debuts, I anticipate there being rather long lines to reach these portals. There are, after all, only 20 of these portals in the park. Imagine if a couple hundred people are simultaneously playing this game and there's only 20 portals. Well, you're going to be waiting, and each experience at a portal is at least a minute, sometimes 2 minutes long, possibly even longer for some of the harder difficulty levels. So you could potentially wait 20 minutes to get to a portal, and your entire game that usually requires 4, 5, 6 portal visits could take you an hour, hour and a half to complete. Now, you don't have to do it all at once. You can kind of go to a portal here, then go off and ride some rides, then go to your next portal, then go off and eat some lunch. Then back, it is all stored. Where you are in the game is stored via RFID on your key card. So fortunately, you don't have to do it all at once, but if you want to really get into the game, you're going to end up probably waiting a lot for the portals, which hopefully they'll add more portals or figure out a way to prevent that. I don't know how they're going to accomplish that. One other issue that was most definitely noticed while playing was the noise factor that has sort of leaked into the Magic Kingdom. And this is something I know that they're working on. They're going to try to perfect in the coming weeks. It is, after all, still in testing. But as you're walking through, particularly in Fantasyland, you'll see just behind Cinderella Castle, 3 of the portals are essentially right next to each other, with another portal just across the way. So in one area behind Cinderella Castle, if you stand there, you could actually hear 4 separate magic portals around you all at the same time. And they're kind of loud, and it sort of interferes with the ambiance in the park. Likewise, in Adventureland, you could be walking through, and one of the portals you hear all these random characters and sounds and stuff happening off to the side that really takes away from the experience of being in those themed lands. But again, they are working on those volume issues, and hopefully they'll figure out a way to have the audio directed only to the people who are there standing on the circle of power, and not everybody else that is around. One final issue that has cropped up is the issue of glare. It was hard to see some of the portals because of where the sun was, and they're behind windows, etc. Again, that's something that Imagineers are working on fixing. So it's almost impossible to completely form an opinion, or really to form an opinion at all during this testing phase, but I hope that gives you a bit of an overall summary of what to expect out of the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom experience as it moves closer and closer to debuting over at the Magic Kingdom. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, particularly for younger kids who are familiar with card trading games and role-playing games, and we'll really get into it. I think the harder difficulty levels will be better for adults playing. It'll be a little bit more involved than the easy difficulty level, which was, well, fairly easy and straightforward, but it's an interesting addition to the park that I look forward to seeing how it evolves and how it completely gets rolled out, and we'll just have to wait and see how when it all debuts. You might get lucky for now, and when you head over to the Magic Kingdom, just look for that sign to see if they are asking people to join in and test with them. and good luck in battling the villains in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. And now, before we jump into main feature number 2 here on this week's show, I do want to put in a quick word about Theme Park Connection, who I've been talking about for a number of weeks here on the show. They have joined us as a sponsor, and I must say it is a great store to visit out here in Orlando, actually in Winter Garden, just about 15 minutes north of the Magic Kingdom. Of course, you can visit their website over at themeparkconnection.com as well. And this company, Theme Park Connection, basically sells Disney rarities, unique items that you're essentially not going to find anywhere else. You can get collectibles such as props, costumes, signs, trading pins, and so much more. You can just stand there in their 4,000 square foot warehouse. For now, they're actually expanding, which should be opening in just a few weeks, have even more store space. But for now, 4,000 square foot warehouse, just browse through all of their items, or you can visit their eBay store online. Again, themeparkconnection.com is where you can find links to that, as well as directions to their store and more information about the company. I do encourage you to check it out if you're looking for some unique Disney items to purchase. One more time, that's all over at themeparkconnection.com. All right, now let's talk about another new experience for Walt Disney World, the one that is quite a bit different from Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. In fact, it probably couldn't be any more different. Now I am talking about the exotic driving experience over at the Walt Disney World Speedway. It's an experience that officially is debuting tomorrow, Monday, January 16th, but I had a chance just a couple of days ago on Friday to preview this new experience that includes some of the world's most expensive cars. It's from Petty Holdings, which of course is the company behind the Richard Petty driving experience that has been at the Speedway for quite some time. And this new driving and riding experience features Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Audis, and Porsche cars, and really is one of Walt Disney World's fastest attractions, if not the fastest attractions. When I previewed it on Friday, I had a chance to take a Ferrari out for a 6-lap spin. And before we get to my thoughts on that experience, I actually wanted to, on hand there for preview day, were President and COO of the new exotic driving experience, Rick Fedrizzi, as well as professional race car driver Christian Fittipaldi. And he's actually one of the few racers in the world who has raced professionally in NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar, so certainly knows a thing or two about driving. And so I talked to both Rick as well as Christian about the new experience, and so let's hear what they had to say, starting with President and COO Rick Fedrizzi. Tell me basically what is the exotic driving?
Well, we've created the opportunity for folks to come out and get the chance to drive some of the greatest cars that are built. We've got a range of cars. We've created a course that really showcases the power and performance of these cars. And in an affordable way, they can come out and really experience what a lot of people just dream about having the chance to do.
So we're at the Walt Disney World Speedway, just outside the Magic Kingdom parking lot, and there's already been a couple of driving experiences here for a number of years. What separates this new experience from those?
Well, the stock car experience has been here for over 15 years. Really is, it's an opportunity for fans of the sport, or anybody that's enthusiastic about stock car racing, to have a chance to experience the sport in a different way. This is an opportunity for car enthusiasts to come drive high-performance cars on a course really designed to showcase what those cars are all about. So it's a little bit different driving discipline, different set of cars, and really a different experience.
So tell me about the cars that are available to drive or ride in the new experience.
Yeah, we've got a range of cars, starting with the Porsche 997 Carrera. Next car in the lineup is our Audi R8, which is a V10 model. And we've got 2 models of Lamborghinis, the Gallardo and a Superleggera. And then we have the Ferrari, 2011 car of the year, the Ferrari 458 Italia, which is she's the top dog of the cars that we have.
So the price for driving each one of these cars ranges depending on the car. What is the difference in paying, $199 versus closer to $300 for the Ferrari?
Yeah, that's the biggest difference, is which car you get to drive, and all the cars, obviously have a different price tag associated with them, and the cost to run those cars. So the Porsche is the entry level, $199 for the 6-lap base experience, and then you work your way up to the Ferrari 458, which is $389.
And looking at the new website for this experience, I see an emphasis on really showing off kind of the flashiness of the cars. It's got the price tag of the cars right there on the website. Is that part of the experience, knowing that you're driving an expensive, flashy car?
Yeah, that is definitely part of the deal. I mean, there's not. I think a lot of people would aspire or dream to own these cars, but in reality, it's out of the reach of most people. I know it's, for me, it's way out of the reach, but the chance to come and actually get in a car that up until now you could really only look at is really the appeal of this experience.
So rather than just going around the loop here, you've actually developed a new course. Can you tell me about sort of the new twists and turns added to it?
Yeah, and when we thought about the program, we could have just had the cars running on the oval, but that really doesn't showcase really what these cars are all about. So we've incorporated sections of the oval, and that allows you to get speed and feel the acceleration, and also the braking capabilities of the car. Not only can they accelerate very quickly, but they've got amazing braking power. And then the interior section, we've included a lot of road course type elements where the drivers can feel the handling, the nimbleness of the cars, a couple of switchbacks, a chicane, and that really showcases really the total package of the car.
So it's more than just about speed, but speed is certainly a factor. I mean, people come to Walt Disney World ride roller coasters, thinking rock and roller coaster going up to 60 miles an hour. How does this experience compare to like riding a roller coaster?
Well, similar experience, in you feel that acceleration, right? I think the biggest difference is the roller coaster's on a rail. It's all you're kind of along for the ride. This one, you're in control of the ride. You tell how much acceleration you want to give, and you get that instant feedback from that. So it's a little bit different, but the thrill and the acceleration and all that—that's really what we want you to feel. And the course, I think, does a great job at highlighting that.
And unlike the stock car and the Indy car experiences, this is a bit more of a comfortable experience. Air conditioning, leather seats. Do you feel like this is more accessible to more people?
I believe so. I think just for those reasons that you stated, in the summertime it gets so hot down here. The cars have air conditioning. Stock cars, you got to climb through the window. Indy cars, you got to kind of fit yourself in a very small, confined area. And some people get claustrophobic in both sets, both kinds of cars. So these cars, everybody drives a street car, so that part of it's not much different. You open the door, you climb in, you put your seatbelt on. From the minute you start it up, though, it's a different experience because you've got so much power and performance at your fingertips.
And do you have a personal favorite amongst your fleet here?
Well, they're all great cars, right? I was going to say that, but the Ferrari 458 on the top speed performance scale, I think mine is the Audi R8. There's the complete balance of the car, the way it feels, the way it drives. It's pretty amazing, for that car.
So that was President and COO of the Exotic Driving Experience, Rick Fedrizzi, and now I want to talk to professional race car driver Christian Fittipaldi about a few more topics from the Exotic Driving Experience. We're here at the Walt Disney World Speedway. The new Exotic Driving Experience is debuting. What do you think about these expensive and flashy cars? I just saw you taking a few laps around there. It seemed like you were having a good time driving it.
Well, I think everyone that comes over here is going to have a great time because it's a unique opportunity for you to feel the performance of a car that has on average 500 horsepower. It's completely different than what you drive out there, but it's accessible to anyone. Anyone can come over here. They're going to be instructed by a great group of guys which are going to prepare them adequately. So when you get in the car, you're not going to only extract the performance out of the car, but you're also going to be in a safe environment. And this is something safe, and this is supposed to be something fun, and supposed to be one of those things that anyone can do it, no matter what your age is. Obviously, you have to be more than 18 to be able to drive the car, but no matter what your age is, if you're a woman, a man, a girl, or a boy, or if you're wearing high heels or not, you can come over here and enjoy your time.
Right. Now, you are starring in the introduction video here, and obviously that's because you're an experienced driver with a number of, stock car, Indy car. How does the experience of driving those types of cars compare to the exotic driving experience here?
Well, I have been asked this question a couple of times during my racing career, and especially when you go from one series to the other, and for example you're driving open wheel stuff and then you start driving a sports car or a NASCAR, which is closed wheel, which is something completely different. But really, no matter what you drive out there, the problems of a race car are always the same. The thing is either going to be pushy, it's going to push in the middle of the turn, or it's going to be loose. Or in other words, either it's going to have understeer or oversteer. When you come over here, a lot of the characteristics that what you feel in a race car, you are able to feel in these cars, believe it or not. Especially when you drive them at speed. Maybe when you come here for the first time, you're not on the absolute limit of the car, but if you ride with someone that is pushing the car to its limit, you will be able to feel exactly the same feelings that you feel when you're on a race car, driving a full, when you're on a racetrack, driving a full-blown race car.
And for somebody who is going to come here and drive one of these cars, what advice would you give them stepping in for the first time?
It's very easy. Actually, there isn't any advice, because with the knowledge that the Petty Group has, it's unbelievable. They have been running the NASCAR program for more than 18 years, and they are prepared to, in an easy way, instruct everyone to come over here, hop in the cars, have a nice time, enjoy, and get out of here safe, and everyone really happy with what they experienced over here. So I'm pretty sure that if you want to do the exotic car experience and you follow all the guidelines, you won't have a problem whatsoever.
Easy as that. The exotic driving experience over at the Walt Disney World Speedway is indeed a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time taking a Ferrari around the track, as you might imagine. And, I have more to say about that, but let's take a step back here so I can share some more specifics about the whole experience. Of course, the Walt Disney World Speedway is located just outside the parking lot for the Magic Kingdom. There is a new exotics course that they've developed for this experience, as you heard the president say there just a few minutes ago. It's a 1-mile circuit, sort of custom built for this exotic driving experience, adding not only the sort of outside oval part, but also some interior tight turns and that kind of thing. Now, you can do one of two different experiences there. You can do a ride-along or a drive. A ride-along will take you a couple of times around the track with one of their drivers driving and you sitting in the passenger seat. That's $99, and they will really drive the car hard. In that situation, you'll get the full experience out of the car. But if you actually want to take control of the car, you can get behind the wheel, do 6 laps around the track, and that starts at $199, goes up to $389, and that depends on which car you want to drive. As you heard, there are a number of cars that are available as part of the experience. I'll run through them one more time. There is the Porsche 997S, which is an MSRP of $100,000 or so if you were to actually buy one of those cars, but you can drive it as part of the exotic driving experience for $199. The next one up from that is the Audi R8, $149,000 MSRP, or you can drive it for 6 laps for $269. Certainly a lot cheaper than buying one. There's the Lamborghini Gallardo LP 560-4. That's $220,000 MSRP, or $299 to drive. Or if you want the next step up with a similar car but a lighter version of it, the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera, that's $260,000 to purchase, or $339 to drive. And then the top of them all is the Ferrari 458 Italia. That's $280,000 MSRP, or $389 to drive. And that is the one that I had a chance to climb in and take around for a few laps. I will, of course, note here that I did not pay the $389. It was the experience was provided so that I could give a review of it and talk to you about it here. And it was a bit intimidating, I'd say, to climb into a car that's worth, well, as much as a house. it's one of those things that I didn't want to be on preview day the guy to crash their $300,000 car or even put a dent or a nick or a scratch or anything on it. So it was a little bit intimidating to even get near the car. But before you even have a chance to get near, fortunately, they do walk you through a pretty extensive instructional period. You have to sit through a class that tells you really everything, the do's and don'ts about driving. As I said earlier, it includes a sort of a video with Christian Fittipaldi, the professional race car driver, that while he was there in person on Friday, he's normally there in spirit in part of the video, and he kind of takes you through a virtual drive around the course, previewing all the twists and turns and straightaways of the new Exotics course. And, when you finally get out there on the track, you can easily get these cars up well over 100 miles an hour, which is far faster than any ride at Walt Disney World. Most drivers will stay at kind of the usual highway speeds, maybe get up to 70 or 80. Fittipaldi, when he took it around on Friday, was able to get the Ferrari up to around 140 miles an hour, but that is not recommended for anybody who's jumping in these cars for the first time. Fortunately, if you do decide to be a little bit crazy with the vehicle once you're driving, the instructor who rides with you, of course, telling you what to do along the way while you're driving, does have a kill switch of sorts where he can kind of dial it down and down and down. You can reduce it, he can reduce it actually all the way down to 10% of the horsepower, putting it at about 50 horsepower or so, which is not going to take you very far. So if you if you get into the car and decide to do this experience, you should definitely obey what they tell you to do. Go here, shift here, turn this, go this speed, etc. Because if you don't, then you will be not able to take the full experience. If you listen to everything that they say, however, you can push the car as hard as you want. As long as you're in control of that car and you can do it, and they see and feel that you are driving well, then they will keep it at 100% and not limit you at all. You can drive this car as fast and as, not crazy, but as fast and as well as you want to. As long to drive it, you have to be 18 years old with a valid driver's license, and to ride, you must be at least 14 years old. I also should mention that no manual driving knowledge is needed. The cars have paddle shifters on the steering wheel, so you can do manual via those, which is what I did. I definitely recommend it, as it's a lot more fun. But there is an automatic mode that they can enable at any time. They just push a button, it switches to automatic, and then you don't have to worry about shifting whatsoever. So what is this whole experience really, really like? Well, it's really, really fun. As I said, I drove the Ferrari 458 Italia. It is the 2011 car of the year. I'm not a car person. I don't understand why the car is nearly $300,000, but I really enjoyed driving it. I did better speed as it went on. My first lap was kind of an introduction to the track, whereas my fourth lap actually ended up being the fastest as I pushed the car a little bit harder. Did the whole lap in about 1 minute and 8 seconds, reaching a top speed out of all 6 laps of 103 miles an hour, which I was pretty happy with. And so I want to share with you now what it sounds like and what it is like to hit the track. I, of course, recorded binaural audio sitting there in the car, and video as well, for those of you watching the video version of this show, of those 2 laps that I just mentioned is what I want to share now. My first lap gives you a great introduction to what the whole experience is where you'll hear my instructor, who also was named Ricky by coincidence. He's sitting to my right, guiding me through the whole track the first time around, kind of telling me where to slow down, where to speed up, etc. And then after that, we'll jump over to lap number 4 of my 6-lap experience so that you can really get a sensation of hearing what the car sounds like when pushed to the fastest that I got it to go during my whole experience. Now, you're going to hear some music when we switch between laps 1 and 4, so that will be your cue for those of you who are just listening that we have switched laps. So with all of that said, let's hop on over to the Walt Disney World Speedway now to take a drive around the exotic driving experience inside a Ferrari 458 Italia.
We got 2 options here. We got the paddle shift option, and then we got the automatic mode on this car. The automatic mode is amazing on this car, so whatever you want to do, it's your choice, however you want to do it.
Well, I'd be happy to try the paddles, and then if we want to have to switch to automatic, we'll do that.
Foot on the brake, I'll turn the key on here, and then you'll start the car right there by the red button.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Right on down the access road here.
Okay.
When we get to the Ford, we're going to stay to the left. We're going to pull up and stage, stop right behind that light.
Get right behind them?
Yep, right behind it.
I keep having the tendency to look over my shoulder. I guess I don't really need to do that, huh?
No. Only thing you need to focus on today is what's going on right in front of
perfect.
Yep.
Here comes lap number 1.
There we go.
Okay.
Right down to that bottom lane.
Okay.
Third gear is what we're going to want to use through here.
Oh, okay.
We're going to maintain third. And as the corner exit, as we come out, we'll probably go into fourth at this point. And as our speeds increase, we'll probably get up into fifth gear. We enter this turn, right down through here, you want your left side tires right down that white line. That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
All the way up to that orange cone, all the way up to it, stay out, now turning. Right over to the yellow.
Should I be downshifting?
Yep, should have been downshift.
Okay, down to 2.
Yep. Here. Maintain second gear throughout the infield here.
Okay.
Over to this orange cone. You want to be over there very close to it, looking ahead for your points. Your
Okay,
points are
I get it.
Kind of staying out in the middle and arcing in now over close to that, up to the orange. So you're about 2 car widths away from that cone. You want to be right up next to that cone,
Okay.
then turn.
I see.
Yep. Right over next to it, then turn.
I get it.
Yeah. Up to this orange cone here, and then turn looking for the yellow. Now accelerate.
Going outside. Okay.
Third gear through here. Okay, to accelerate. Fourth gear. Accelerate. Fifth. Start your braking. More brake, downshift, downshift, downshift.
Now let's jump to lap number 4. Let's say this is fun.
Who you need? Doing a great job, man. More brake, downshift, downshift, downshift.
And there you have it. 2 laps around the exotic driving experience at the Walt Disney World Speedway. It is definitely an extremely fun experience, and the video, for those of you watching the video version of this show, was partially shot by me, partially shot by them, because they have they actually shoot a 2-camera video of the experience as you're driving around. One in the car facing the driver and the instructor, and one out of the car facing the track. I also added 2 more cameras, one facing the steering wheel and another outside the car shooting it as it was going around. So for a complete video of those 2 laps in HD, along with one more lap number 6, my final lap in split screen showing all 4 cameras simultaneously, you're going to want to head on over to InsideTheMagic.net or on our YouTube channel starting tomorrow, Monday, when I'll be posting my complete wrap-up of this experience in honor of its debut tomorrow, with some extended video, like I just said, along with some other video that I've already posted on our YouTube channel of an overview of the experience and plenty of photos as well. Now, a few more thoughts before we wrap this up on the exotic driving experience here. I certainly had a blast doing it, and 103 miles an hour that I got the car up to may not sound like much. Those who kind of dare to punch it on the freeway might get up over 100 miles an hour anyway, but this experience is more than just about speed, more than about how fast you can drive. In fact, the course offers surprisingly little room to really punch it and get up there. The straightaway is not as long as it, many would hope that it would be. You can't just floor it and go, because the course really focuses on all aspects of driving, not only speed, but also braking and handling and, tight turns left and right of increasing difficulty and feeling those lateral forces as you try to take those turns, as you maneuver through those twists and turns at high speeds. And of course, the experience of just stepping into a car like a Ferrari, which is something you can't just go out to the Ferrari dealership and say, hey, I want to test drive. They'll have to do credit checks and make sure you're actually a serious buyer before they're going to let you drive that car out. And even then, they're not going to let you do what you can on the Speedway. You can really take it through its paces in this experience, get as much out of the car as you possibly can. The 6 laps around the course is definitely, it's just long enough. I was disappointed when it was over. I could have gone around a couple of times, but I didn't think it was too short. I thought it was a good experience. It is a bit expensive. The Porsche is $200. To drive the Ferrari is almost double that, and just to go around and have the experience be about 10 minutes long, it's definitely an expensive experience, but it is a lot of fun. You can also add on to that, as I said, they shoot video and audio, and they record data of your laps, and you can get all of that, but they don't give it to you. You have to purchase it at an additional cost on top of your driving experience, and that adds around $100 to the experience, depending on if you get it on a CD or a USB. If you get it on the USB, you get to also get the Racekeeper Comparo software for Windows only, unfortunately, but with that, you can actually pull up the split-screen video and watch the track go around and all the data that they recorded about the car, not only how fast you're going, but RPMs and all kinds of other specifics. But again, that is all an extra cost. They also take a picture of you standing outside the car before you get in, and that is also available for an extra cost. So everything is on top of the experience as well. Overall, in my opinion, taking this exotic driving experience, it's better. For me, better than the Richard Petty driving experience or the IndyCar experience because of the comfort factor. These cars are luxury cars. They're exotic cars. They're expensive cars, and they are far more comfortable. There's air conditioning. There's leather seats. There's a regular seatbelt, not a big, 5-point restricting seatbelt. There's real car doors to get in and out. You don't have to climb through a window like it was said earlier. There's no jumpsuit that you have to wear. You just show up in your regular clothes, and that's fine. And there's no really strict height or weight limit. If you can fit in the car, then that's really all you need. So because of all of that, this experience is far more comfortable, particularly in the summer months. I would imagine it'll be more comfortable than having to deal with the restrictions of driving those other cars. With that said, these are, sort of, well, not everyday cars, but cars you can go out and drive if you had enough money every day, whereas the stock cars and the Indy cars is not something you could go drive every day. You can only drive it in an experience like this. So kind of a toss-up there depending on what you're looking for. For me, I think the exotic driving experience is better on the other ones. And if you want to see all of this for free, this is the best part. You can go out to the Walt Disney World Speedway and just watch the cars. You don't get to ride, you don't get to drive for free or anything like that, but there is no cost for spectators. So you can go watch the stock cars go around, you can go watch the Indy cars go around, and you can get up very close to these very expensive cars and watch them from one of the observation areas go around the course and really see what they can do without making any reservations, without anything. You just simply drive in and you go and you watch. So I definitely encourage everybody to at least go do that, because you could certainly enjoy it that way. So the exotic driving experience officially debuts tomorrow at Walt Disney World, at the Walt Disney World Speedway. You can visit exoticdriving.com for more information, and also head on over to InsideTheMagic.net tomorrow, January 16th, for more thoughts, photos, and even more video. And as an added bonus here at the very tail end of the show, after I wrap it up here in just a few minutes, I'm going to leave you with even a bit more audio from the exotic driving experience. For those of you who want to find out even more, I did record audio of the entire introduction class that you sit through prior to driving. So if you kind of want to get an idea of how they prepare you to drive and get a few more specifics about what the experience is all about, I know it's a pretty sizable investment to put several $100s into a 10-minute experience. So to really educate you on on all the details. I figured I'd include that at the very tail end of this show in the audio version of the show only, not the video version. So that'll be coming up in just a bit. And if you don't want to hear that, then you can just skip it, and then everyone is happy. So anyway, that is it for the exotic driving experience. I'll just say one more time that I honestly did have a lot of fun driving it. It was something different and unique than anything else at Walt Disney World, and because of that, it is something I can recommend as long as the price makes sense for you. And before we round out the show here, I do want to put in a quick word about Lanyard Lab. If you have a business to promote, or maybe you're going to a convention, or you need to wear a name tag around your neck, or perhaps at a school or a church or any organization where you do need to wear ID cards, custom lanyards is a great way to not only wear them, but also be able to customize how you wear them. You can add your own colors, your own text, your own logos, whatever it is that you want on there by visiting lanyardlab.com. Just fill out the quote request form and submit all your details to us. We'll email you back not only with a price quote for what you want, but also a digital proof showing you what your lanyard design will look like when produced as a lanyard. If you're happy with everything at that point, you just place your order online. It's as simple as that, or you can make any changes that you want from there as well. So check it out over at lanyardlab.com. And that is where we will wrap up show 354. I do have quite a bit of listener feedback, but the show is already running about 20 minutes longer than a usual show at about an hour and 20, and so I figured I would hold the listener feedback till next week, as I don't anticipate a whole lot happening in the world of theme parks between now and then, so it'll be good to answer a lot of listener questions and comments. And so if you have anything to ask or contribute to the show, please feel free to email me at ricky@insidethemagic.net between now and then. I'll be happy to share it along with everything else that has been coming in recent weeks. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And also, if you're going to be down here in Orlando, if you're going to be on vacation, if you're looking for some great Disney collectibles, head to Theme Park Connection, their new store in Winter Garden, just north of the Magic Kingdom. Or if you're not going to be here and you want to visit their online store, you'll find that and more information over at themeparkconnection.com as well. And so visit InsideTheMagic.net. Of course, between episodes of this show, it is your source for Disney and theme park news. You'll find show notes, links and background music listings for this show, as well as all of our podcasts, videos, photos, articles, lots of news on our links to our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube pages, and all the latest and greatest from Disney and beyond as well. I do want to thank everybody for continuing to tune in to Inside the Magic, be it the audio version or the video version, which is now back once again this week. Thanks for being patient the last couple of weeks with no video version. We'll continue to produce it as long as everybody is enjoying it. So tune in on Sundays to midday or so, usually about 1 or 2, 3 p.m., something like that, Eastern time, to over at InsideTheMagic.net/live to watch the live version, or you can visit YouTube as well later to see the re-recorded or the recorded version of the video as well. So thanks to all of you for listening each and every week. Have fun out there playing Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom. And right now we'll go back to the Walt Disney World Speedway to end the show for the audio version only with that instructional course for the exotic driving experience. So all of you, have a magical week. Bye.
Shining at the end of every day.